Welcome to Two True Stories in a CreepyPasta, the program where I, take a moment, read my friend Rickshaw two true stories in a CreepyPasta. For the sake of this story, I don't recall every word of my conversations in the story. It was 15 years ago, so I'll do my best to recreate them to make the story flow based on what I do remember. I was about 19 when I was offered a job. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. I'm good. I was about 19 when I was offered a job by my cousin to work for our uncle's glass business. They installed giant glass windows in tall buildings and skyscrapers. Not that it's too relevant to the story. The catch to the job was I had to temporarily move to Destin, Florida from Tampa. Well, first off, already they're in Florida. That's like
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
that's already
Yeah,
just a major red
that's the start
flag.
of yeah, that's the start of every horror movie, isn't it? I guess, or horror story. So
Yeah, just
yeah,
immediate in Florida.
yeah.
My cousin lived up in Russellville, Alabama, and I wanted to go and visit the family there and leave with them together to go back and down to Destin. This was my first. This was my first trip long distance for a road trip, and my first trip away from my immediate family. Back then, I was driving a puke green Mercury Sable. I have no idea. Do you know what kind of car that is?
I've no clue. It's very American. It's
Uh,
not from where I come. So
um, I'm just gonna look it up real quick.
what do you say? A puke green?
Yeah, a puke green.
That's a nice car.
Oh yeah,
Imagine
nothing.
going to a dealership and just saying, "I'll have a puke green, please." Yeah, that's the one I want.
Oh, it's not an amazing looking car,
No,
I will say.
no, I couldn't imagine it being so
Yeah.
in puke green.
Yeah, puke
So,
puke
yeah,
green.
yeah.
What a way to describe your car.
That's every Florida car,
Yes,
you know,
a
car
hundred
shop.
percent. Just from seeing it alone, that's 100% what I think it
What car
is.
should I buy? Puke green. That's just a
Puke,
great decision.
a puke green car.
Yeah.
A car barely capable of getting groceries back home, but in my invincible youth, I didn't care about that. I was just so pumped to be spreading my wings and getting out into the world that the risks didn't concern me. My mom and dad tried to get me a plan and pack better, knowing the trip could have its pitfalls, but it wasn't like the trip was going to take days and fast food exits, so I wasn't stressing about that. I mean, I'm not stupid. I packed for the trip and staying a few months in Destin, but they wanted me to bring food, water, emergency supplies, etc. They sound like cool guys. Like his parents,
It's
they seem like they're very careful. Not like they're
right. Yeah.
overprotecting their child or anything.
I'm just really thinking about his job though. You know, I was like thinking, how could this horror story revolve around a job where you install windows? And all I could think of is he's installing the window on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he pushes on the window and it just goes straight through.
Oh my gosh, that's
Just falls
actually
right out, you
everyone's
know.
nightmare.
Well, I mean that is the only horror story, you know, that revolves around this sort of job I could ever think up of. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
I saw videos like that where this guy they were installing a window and it almost caught them and threw them
Oh
outside
God.
the window.
Oh, it's
But
awful, you know.
they were thankfully they were like they were locked. They were like tied to the
Yeah,
building
yeah.
itself.
It's like in London, you know, you can go to like tall buildings and all that. And I remember it might have been I don't know. I think when I went to Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went in Miami and then to one of the skyscrapers there or whatever. And the guy who was doing the tour said, what one of the people in the crowd asked, "Oh, just what happened if the window breaks? Or what if someone leaned on a window and it just went through?"
Yeah.
And he punched the window. He said, "I'm not supposed to do this," and punched the window. And all I can imagine is he hooks this window and he goes straight through. How funny that would be! I mean, that guy's a lot of trust in those windows. I don't think I'd put
Hmm.
trust in something human made like that.
No,
I'd
I
say you end up
wouldn't.
in Live League.
Oh,
So
I absolutely would not.
yeah, puke green car driver
Their puke
goes through a
green
window.
car falls out of
Yeah,
a window.
yeah, lands on his puke green car. Thank God. At least the
No,
car's gone. At least the
that's
car's written
true.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, he may be gone, but he chose to drive that thing. So
yeah, it's all on him.
yeah,
I declined because it wasn't the 1930s, and of course, there are gas stations at every exit, and I had a Razor flip phone. My thinking was, what could possibly happen on two busy interstates? It wasn't like I was going to some far off country with no cell service. Anyway, fast forward to the trip. I'm a Florida boy. I had no idea Alabama could get so cold. They're like right next to it. That's a.
yeah. You would have thought that he would have at least maybe even driven through there.
Or even looked. Well, I guess this is early
Well, he had a flip
2000s.
phone, so
Yeah, so
it's
you
probably
can't
on
like
Google
check the
Maps, wasn't
weather.
it?
Yeah, can't
Yeah.
check the
Oh
weather.
well, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, but I mean, you would have thought he would have like gone there maybe, or I mean, I can't really think of many reasons to go to Alabama to be honest, but you know, maybe to go through it, maybe. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I wouldn't stay there. Not because I think it's bad, but I don't know. It's just not a holiday destination.
I would. Me personally, I would only go there for the food.
Mm,
That's the only reason
yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah,
why I would
yeah,
go. Cause like
yeah.
southern like
Southern
broils.
Americans, they know what they're doing. Your briskets and all that,
Oh
and
yeah, and like soul
wow,
food.
yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah, they know.
yeah. And there's a lot of that, sort of in because I've only been to Florida in America,
Mhm.
which I don't think is a great example of America, but it was a good one because from what I saw, it was beautiful.
Mhm.
So
Um, I had no idea Alabama could get so cold, and I had no idea that the heat was broken in my car. I had never used it. At first, I'm thankful because by the time I reached Alabama, I'm tired as hell, and I've had made a lot more stops than I anticipated. He wouldn't have done that if he took his parents' offer and and like brought some food with him, maybe.
right, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I'd take food anywhere to be honest.
Yeah,
I
road
mean,
trip food is like
a long drive, you take food, don't you? Because
yes,
anything can happen. I
absolutely.
know it's not. I know it's not Arizona. I know he's not like driving on one of the big. It's not highways. It's interstate or whatever it is.
Y-
The big long roads with
Yeah,
just
yeah,
desert
yeah.
in Arizona. I know it's not one of those roads, but still, you don't know where you're going. So, um, I don't know. I guess if he needs to stop anywhere, that's the problem though. Think about this, right? Let's
Okay.
say there's no, he can't find a gas station, so he's got to stop at someone's house,
Mhm.
and he's stopping in a puke green car. They're not going to open the front door to him. He's like, "Oh, please,
Yeah.
please help! I need directions." They're going to go, "This guy's crazy. He drives a puke green car. That's not right."
Yeah, that's a
You know,
weird it's a weird car to like
it's
the
really weird, though, isn't it?
description. It's the description
Yeah.
of it. That's weird. You don't go
The thing is,
like lime green or dark green. No, puke
yeah,
green.
puke green. Yeah, it's like he could have just made it. He could have said, "Oh, I drove a nice sedan or something." No, no, I drove a puke green car. It's like he could have at least maybe lied about that and made the car that he's driving not as bad. Maybe
Yeah.
it ties in. Maybe he comes across a puke green car fan. You know,
Oh,
or
if
there's
that's
the
the end, I
thousands of
hope it
them,
is.
the thousands of them out there. So
Mhm.
definitely. So
I still had a few more hours to go, and the cold air was keeping me awake. Finally, I pull off the interstate and these um, start heading through these smaller numbered roads. the roads didn't have conventional names like in Florida. They were numbered. Oh, so okay, so they weren't named with like conventional names. They were just numbered, which I found odd.
Right.
After driving on those a bit, I started being sent down gravel roads. This was the days of MapQuest, so I didn't have a GPS guiding me through just paved roads or rerouting me around roadblocks. I was starting to get hungry. What's up?
It's just that, again, it makes my brain think, numbered roads, It's like Death Road 1 or, like
Yeah, yeah,
Gangville 2 or something
yeah.
like, you
Gangville?
know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But gravel roads, where is this guy going? I thought he
Yeah,
was he
he,
was like doing windows on sky on like tall buildings,
well, I think he was
Like what
I think he was getting to that, but my thought process is
where's he going then?
my thought
Can't he just
process is
get on a highway or something?
he's driving on interstates. If he would have kept on following those, he would have reached like a big
Yeah.
city.
Yeah, where
How
the,
did he get
the,
on
the
gravel
tall buildings
roads?
are.
Yeah.
This guy, obviously, his mind has gone, he's buying puke green cars and not packing any food. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe the starvation's kicking in. Starts just driving down, like, I know he said country roads, but I guess there aren't any country roads. I guess it's just back roads and Gangville too, What a great road name.
Yeah.
But, oh.
I was starting to get hungry and thought back to my parents telling me to pack food. Yeah, I should have listened. Yeah,
Yeah, the
you're damn
starvation's
right.
kicking in. Oh yeah.
Damn right you should have listened.
Yeah, hello. Like where are you going, I mean, what gets me as well is why is he going through Alabama or is he going to Alabama?
I'm not his. Okay, so he was gonna visit his. Okay, wanted to visit his family in Alabama. And he was
Right.
offered a job by his cousin that does the same thing, so that was going on there.
So what tall buildings are in Alabama then? I mean, there must be few, but surely business isn't booming.
I don't know. I can't name you a single big town in Alabama. I'm sure there are,
No, that's what I'm
but
thinking. So wouldn't you go to, I mean, wouldn't Florida be the place, or maybe even north of Florida would be perfect?
yeah. Or
So this guy and his family are stupid then. So, maybe they're all starving, you just don't know.
oh, I have no
Maybe
idea.
they all drive puke green cars and they're all starving and they
Yeah.
all, drive down gravel paths and strange. I mean, the decision making in these stories is always hilarious. It's like the people who wrote them at the time thought they knew everything. Oh, don't worry, I won't need food.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing that keeps me going. Oh, don't worry, I'll drive a puke green car, or oh, don't worry, I'll just pull a gun on my wife. I mean, we're
Yeah,
not at
yeah,
that
yeah.
level yet. We're not at that level yet, but it's getting there. I
Oh,
can see this
absolutely.
developing. Yeah.
The sketchiest thing with MapQuest was that you just printed out the directions and you didn't have a map to fall back on. Okay, so what he should have done here is just he should have had a map with him, just in case.
Yeah, I mean, he's not using GPS like you said. I don't think his flip phone is gonna be
No,
much help, especially in Alabama.
yeah, he
Who,
should have just
who's ever been there?
he should have just brought a map with him.
Yeah, or stuck to the highways, like you said. But I mean, uh, it is in Alabama. Maybe it's like cousins or something.
Yeah,
Maybe it's like the weird part of his family, and they've
yeah,
sent in like a letter, but it's all written in crayon, and they've said, "Oh, we'll give you lots of money to come here," and actually they're just gonna eat him.
that would be a twist.
Yeah, but he's done the right thing by not eating, so he won't be plump for them. Isn't that intelligent? See, now this guy is going up in my estimation. Now this guy is
Oh
obviously intelligent because
yeah.
he's thought, right? That's what he thought to himself. He's gonna go there in a puke green car to make them feel sick, right?
Mhm.
He's going there not eating food, so he's going to be really thin. So there's not much to eat of him anyway.
Mhm.
And he's driving. I don't know why he's driving down gravel roads. To be honest,
Yeah,
it's just lost.
that's the part
You
that
know?
just doesn't make sense. How do you get there?
Yeah, Yeah.
I mean,
I
yes,
mean, if you've ever seen Deliverance, this is the start to it.
I've not.
Yeah,
Yester
don't watch it.
yesterday, I was sent to do one thing and I got lost when I was traveling in my town. I got lost for 30 minutes.
Oh my God, in
I
your town?
Yes, and
With all the technology that we have as well, like
oh yeah, no, I did
that's
the
shocking. I will
yeah,
say
no,
that is
I
shocking.
was but here's the thing. Here's the nail on the coffin. I was also
Yeah.
hungry. I had not
Oh,
eaten anything
that's the
all
good thing
day.
though. So if anyone wants to eat you, they're bang out of luck, aren't they? So they're just gonna
Yes.
be cooking bones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, outsmarting these people,
Mhm. So, you didn't have a map to fall back on, so going out of your way to find fast food at an exit came with the potential of legitimately getting lost. So, I had passed a few signs telling me to turn off for food because I was tired and didn't want to chance it. Instead, I was looking for something off the side of the road that I could easily pull in and pull back out of with no fuss, and more importantly, no risk of getting lost. My prayers were answered a little down the road when I saw a beat up old country grocery store on my right hand side. Didn't even have a name. It just said grocery. Have you seen stores like that?
What with just grocery on them?
Well,
Um,
there's stores in like America, like really small stores where when you're driving,
mm,
it just says food, beer, smoke. It's all that's written on it.
that's a good name. Yeah, that's creative.
All it
Yeah,
says is scary.
I
It's so weird looking.
I think it's all just a front, for the human cannibal business.
Hmm.
To be honest.
In the deep south, absolutely. I'd believe that. Just said grocery across the front of the white building. I pulled in because the light shining across the grocery sign was on, but found it a bit odd that most of the lights inside were off. This still creeps me out a little, but it didn't stop me from going up to the door. I was starving, and maybe this was a 24-hour place. If if I saw a store that most of the lights were off in it, I'm not going in the store.
Mm.
I'm not even
Yeah, I
going up
don't
to the
think.
door.
Or to be honest, I don't think I'd go to Alabama.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wouldn't be driving
uh,
on any gravel roads in Alabama.
no, and I wouldn't answer any messages that any letters that are written in crayon either.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's funny though that here in the UK we don't have stores necessarily that just say food, beer, and smokes.
Mm-hmm.
It's normally like a stupid name or like a go local, or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think he's a bit lost, to be honest.
Oh yeah, no,
I think
he's definitely
Alabama's
lost.
completely different to where he grew up.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah,
he said he was in Tampa, and Tampa's a pretty big place. So,
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, that's Central Florida, isn't it?
I think so.
Because I think I've been there. I mean, that's not universes away from what I imagine Alabama is. I think it's definitely way more built up. But then when you look at the sort of more, where the actual people live, where not where the tourism is,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a bit closer. But
Uh,
this guy's completely lost. This
yeah,
guy's a lost soul, to be honest.
like Orlando is like the center of, I would say, is the center of
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that's the center as well,
yeah,
to be honest.
but it's a little off. It's a little off from there.
Yeah.
I saw a shadow move across the back of the long aisles as I approached the glass door, and surprisingly opened it with ease. At this point, I half expected them to be closed due to the lack of lighting inside, and hoped the owner would take pity on a tired traveler and let me grab some snacks. I called out, "Hello?" No one answered. I said something along the lines of, I saw you when I pulled up and I was hoping that you were still open." Again, no answer. Now, This was really naive of me, but I assumed maybe the owner was older and couldn't hear me. There was a constant buzzing sound coming from the back, or maybe he was deaf. So I went further back into the store. It honestly didn't smell great inside, and I hoped they had at least had some chips or something. At least those were sealed. Suddenly, a man emerged from the back. I'm so sorry. We're about to close. How can I help you? He asked with a smile. He nearly made me jump out of my skin at first, but he seemed friendly enough. And not that the old man I was picturing, but actually a younger guy, maybe in his 30s. Yeah, I just came up from Florida. It's been a long drive. I was hoping you guys had something to eat for the trip. We have plenty. What are you looking for exactly? He said, without taking his eyes off me. The guy had a weird, unblinking stare that put me on edge, but what made me the most uncomfortable was his smile. Oh, we're back to smiling, people. Maybe it's Mr. Smile, reincarnate.
Yeah, maybe it's his uncle or maybe cousin. That's what they do down there. So we're all cousins.
I would not like someone not blinking, just constantly smiling at me. I can tell you that
No.
much.
Well, something he said before was, "Oh, I can buy some chips
Hmm.
because they're sealed."
Yeah.
It's okay that they're sealed, but they've been sealed for 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think the smell in the store is probably a dead body. Probably.
Oh,
That's my guess.
it could be.
Mr. Style, Mr. Mr. Styles, Mr. Smile is back at it.
Oh, he is. Absolutely. And he's
Yeah,
working in a grocery store.
but it's his great uncle this time, and he's working in a grocery store.
Yeah.
So he's making a living. So
Yeah. I mean, a
you
man's a
can't you
man's
can't
got
fault
to
him for
make a
that.
living.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know.
But what made me the most uncomfortable was his smile. He smiled big, but his eyes never moved. As in, the only way you could tell that he was conveying an emotion was by looking at his mouth. The rest of his face stayed the same. Most people, you could tell that they're smiling even if their mouth was covered, because you could smile with your whole face. Not this guy. Just some chips? Maybe a Coke? Oh, it's him. It's the guy. Just some chips, maybe a Coke? Do you have Doritos? Of course, he said, walking past me. He locked the door behind me before turning and smiling. Don't want anyone else walking in, he chuckled. I would be unnerved if a man locked me into a store.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it really is tying into that whole "I'm gonna eat you now." You lock
Yeah.
the door on someone, and it's game over, really, isn't it? You know. Um, all he can do now is maybe uppercut him with the flip phone. Maybe just flip the phone up in his face,
Yeah.
knock him out. Hopefully. Mr. Smile though, he,
Hello? You okay?
because
You cut
if you
out.
knock him down in real life, he'll come back in your dreams.
Oh my gosh.
Um, but I'm back now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I just said if you knock Mr. Smile down in real life, he'll come back in your dreams.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
opposite of Freddy Krueger?
Y- yeah,
That would scare me
pretty
more.
much.
That would scare me
Pretty much.
more.
Yeah, that's quite scary, isn't it? You see this horrific person in real life, and maybe they die or something. You're like, oh, thank God. And it's just, they're just in your room
Oh
every time
my.
you sleep.
I would hate that. I would actually hate that.
Yeah, just Alabama things.
People in Alabama be like. That's exactly
Oh
what that
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. Alabama custom.
Mm-hmm.
That's the culture. Just because it's different doesn't mean it's worse.
That's true.
Yeah.
Him locking the door was creepy, but I shrugged it off because the reasoning was sound even though it felt off. Follow me, the guy said as he walked towards the back of the store. I was young, but I should have been smart enough to know that the store owners generally don't give their customers a tour of the store. But I have lived a pretty sheltered life. I could feel that something was off, but didn't want to offend by asking questions like, "What's that smell?" We get to the back of the store to where those plastic flaps hang that separate the customer's side and the back end. When the man sticks his hand through, parting the plastic, "Right this way," I wouldn't walk in there. I would run away.
Yeah, again, that's game over, isn't it? You know, you're gonna be on a meat holder, you know. So yeah, that's really strange. I mean, I wouldn't have gone into the store anyway. I mean, like you said, oh, there'll be gas stations. You
Yeah.
know, go and find one.
Like the lights are off,
Yeah, it's
and the
closed.
guy walks over and he goes, "Oh, we were just about to close." I would leave. I would turn
Do you know
around
what I
and
think
go, "Have a
happens?
good one."
Hey, do you know what I think? Do you know what I think happens? Right? I think this is all a misunderstanding. I think the guy walks in thinking it's a shop, right? And the people in the shop think, oh, the shop's closed, no one's going to come in. And the only reason anyone's going to come in, oh, they think the guy comes in, they think, oh, he must want to go to our backroom poker game. You know, so we'll
Oh,
lock the
okay.
door so no police, you know, no police officers behind it, and we'll take him to it. And they're all just sat there playing poker. So it's
That
a happy ending, really.
that would be a
So
lovely ending.
yeah, so what's going to happen is he's going to walk into his shop. He might not get food, but he'll be 20 quid up on the day. So win-win, really, isn't it? You
Yeah,
know,
I was gonna say that's a win-win.
that's a win. You know, well, 20
Absolutely.
quid if he plays his hands right, but you know, again, this guy's a bit stupid. He drives a puke green car and
Walks into
doesn't
smelly
eat food.
stores.
Yeah,
Walks into
walks
smelly
into,
stores.
but that's another thing. Walks into smelly stores and then still looks for food. You know, anything smelly, you don't think, oh, I'll buy something to eat. You
A
just
bit
say, I
peckish.
don't like this store. Yeah, yeah, I think I'll go to another store now, you know, just down the road. I think I'll go to Walmart instead, yeah, because you're not going to get any smells there. And the other thing, if you go to a Walmart, you can just rob it because they never like check you or anything.
No, you could do anything in a Walmart. They won't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Now alarm bells are starting to go off in my head, especially as he starts looking around and past me like someone who's been selling drugs and watching out for the police. "Back there?" I ask, and start to back up a little. That's when I notice the chips beside me on the aisle. The guy noticed me see the chips and said,
I
"Yeah,
told you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
told you. Poker chips. I told you. You know.
yeah,
Okay, I know. I know they're actually chips, but
yeah." Mm-hmm.
still, this could be a backroom poker game. So maybe he doesn't walk into the back room and he never finds a backroom poker game, you know? Maybe that's his mistake. Maybe he's writing the story about a time that he thought someone was trying to kidnap him and they were actually trying to make him some money. Let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah.
Um, the guy noticed me see the chips. Says, "Yeah, yeah, back here we got our good stuff in the back. Yeah, you can come and take your pick." By this time, I find the source of the buzzing. Flies are flying over the meat section, and the dim light reflecting off of the packaging lets me know that it's been sitting there for a while. "I'll take this if that's all right," I say nervously as I grab a bag off the shelf next to me and start backing up towards the door. "Trust me, those are no good. I have way better stuff back here." He smiles, gesturing for me to head to the back. I fake patting my pockets and say, "Oh man, I forgot my wallet in the car. I'll be right back." As soon as those words left my lips, I was spun around and did a light jog to the front, increasing the speed as I approached the door. I make it to the door and twist the lock a couple of times until I hear a click. I push the door open and turn back to look at what the man was, but he was gone. I jumped into the car and sped out of the parking lot and didn't stop again until I reached my cousin's house.
Yeah, that's do you know what that is? I'm reading into this now. That is a rookie shopkeeper on his first ever client, right? And he's already made a mistake.
Yeah,
So
he's
he's got all the bad produce in the front and all the good produce in the bad. And what his boss forgot to tell him was it's the other way round.
Oh
So that's
yeah,
why he's made that mistake. So now he's lost a customer, and he disappeared because he's probably crying.
I
First
think
day on the job.
what I think that was maybe so there's this game, and I think it's similar to this, where in the game you I forget what the game is called, but you go to like these innkeepers, and apparently they're the nicest people on the planet, but when you
Right.
go
Okay.
there, they're actually really mean, and it turns
Right.
out that a bunch of hillbillies killed them, killed the original owners,
Yeah.
and took over the inn. So maybe it's something similar to that.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Or you've just made me think of something. Then maybe it's a robbery in progress. But the robbery's been going for like 5 days, and
Yeah.
it's like dragging along. So and the guy who's got the gun said, "Can we get this going now?" And they're like, "I will remember the code to the safe. Just give me another 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, maybe that's it.
Oh. Yeah.
What a strange store though. It's so strange. Why is all the good stuff in the back and the bad stuff and the bad stuff in the front? It's supposed to be the other way around. That's just an average Alabama
And
store.
flies all over the
Flies over the meat,
meat.
yeah. I mean, that is just flavor. That just adds flavor,
Yeah,
maybe.
protein as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
maybe.
and when they start infecting it with like the larva and stuff,
Oh God. Oh yeah, that's why you buy it from there.
gross. That is actually
Yeah,
foul.
that is awful.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
This happened about.
So wait,
Yeah?
sorry.
No, you're
That
good.
was the first story.
Yeah, that was the first one.
So did he ever do the job or anything, or maybe he got eaten? Maybe he was writing that Reddit post from his car, and then he actually went to the place, and then he got eaten. So I could be right. I'm gonna right now. I'm gonna take what I said as truth
Okay.
because we don't have any evidence to say
I
otherwise.
mean, he did say he reached to his cousin's house,
Oh right.
but that's where it ends. So
Oh, well, there you go then. Again, it fits right into my story.
maybe his cousins did eat him
I'm like the
because.
worst detective ever. Imagine if they assigned me to this case and they're like, "What happened with the store?" And I said, "Don't worry, I've got this." Obviously, it's not the store you want to worry about; it's these cousins.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
go there and it's like dead bodies hanging everywhere, and you're like, nothing wrong with this place. It's the
Yeah,
customer's
nothing
fault.
wrong with this place. What's going on with the cousins though? What's going on with them people? Oh, that's where I need to go next. You go there and they're just really nice people, and they own like a really successful business. You're like, there's something up with this. That last store is just a normal store.
Hmm.
They've got nothing to do with this.
But it's because you grew up in that area, so you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Maybe, maybe that's how I like my meat.
Because crazy people don't see other crazies as crazy.
That's true. Yeah,
So,
and they see the normal people as mental.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. All right. This happened about 4 years ago. I was 20 at the time. The first time I met the guy who would become my grocery store stalker. He was standing outside the store collecting the money for the Salvation Army Christmas time donations. I'm a fairly friendly person, so I like to say hi to people who work at places I frequent to be nice. This guy was a kid around my age. This guy was a kid. Okay, very nice. This guy was a kid around my age, very tall.
I mean,
Yeah,
kid can mean anything, though, can't it? A kid can, to some people, be 25.
that's true.
You know,
I mean, when you're like really old,
a kid is really young.
yeah, like a
But
kid
when,
is still like 30.
yeah. But he said he's around his age, so he's got to be like 19 or something, 18 maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
said that they were 20 at the time. So,
Oh, well, there you go. So they were like 20 years old,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and they were doing charity work. And what's the first thing he says? Oh yeah, there was this creepy stalker who was doing
Yeah, he's a
charity work. You know, what an
stalker.
awful person. Oh,
Hmm.
charity work. What an awful thing to do.
Very tall with a mild resemblance to Lurch from the Addams family. Dark circles under the eyes, short dark hair, kind of a vacant look in his eyes. I chatted with him for maybe 2 minutes, just idle chit chat about the weather and whatnot, nothing particularly memorable or interesting. Then waved goodbye and went home. Little did I know that that single moment would be the start of something that would that would have me genuinely afraid. Um, Me personally, if someone looks in my own personal opinion, if someone looks a little odd to me, I'm not gonna talk to
Mm.
them. Like at all.
Yeah, I mean, there's a choice. You don't have to talk to people. I think this guy's got it wrong again, It's
Mm-hmm.
like he has to talk to people. So he could pick someone like who's got like a bloody machete in his hand and go, "You all right, mate?" You don't have to do that. You can just like walk away. But no, he has to say hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like the most courteous guy ever, you know.
absolutely. About 4 to 5 months passed, and I hadn't seen him again. Well, obviously, because
Yeah.
he worked at Christmas time. He was a
Yeah, he's doing charity work. He's got to go to other shops as well.
yeah.
He doesn't just go to one.
I hadn't seen him again. And then one day I was grocery shopping with a friend. And then as we were chit chatting, she suddenly got really quiet and kind of recoiled backwards, looking behind me. I turned around to see this guy, who had who had to be at least 6'4", towering over me, not 8 inches from my body. He said hi and told me that he remembered me from that December I had talked to him, and then asked for my number. First off, red flags immediately. No one stands 8 inches behind another person.
Well, that's quick. To ask for a number, that's really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point as well. Yeah, 8 inches, and I'm guessing he has a massive height advantage as well, so he's probably very intimidating. Why his phone number though? That's really strange. I bet he gives it to him as well. I bet this guy is like, he's a yes man. He just can't say no. So he's like, "Oh, phone number. Okay." Gets his flip phone out, because it's probably the same guy from the last one.
Oh
Making
yeah,
mistakes constantly. Because in a minute he's going to say, "And I went out to the parking lot and I got into my puke green car."
yeah.
So,
Oh, I hope
and
so.
I drove back to my house, and the next day I went to my skyscraper window company.
Uh, yeah.
So yeah,
That would be even scarier going to like the grocery store in the first one and seeing a charity worker out there.
mm, yeah,
I almost think that would be creepier. But it
yeah,
also
yeah.
didn't
That's
say
true.
what time it was. So what if it was like in the middle of the afternoon?
Yeah, in the middle of the day. Yeah.
Did it?
Where is everyone?
I guess it did. It did say it was. Yeah, never.
I'm guessing nighttime.
Yeah,
I'm get
that's what
because
my
I'm
guess
get
is because it never
if
says
the
it though.
lights because he says the lights are off, right? And you imagine lights on a shop being nighttime or evening.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So maybe it was like evening time, and I don't know, I don't know. This is such a great start to a story though. I can't wait to hear this.
He asked for my number. I, being young and never having experienced this type of
Told you.
interaction before,
I
I
told you.
told him that I didn't have my number memorized. First off,
Ah,
that's the first.
that's a good tactic actually.
Well, also, that's like the first thing that you should have when you get a phone
Yeah,
is
yeah.
you have to memorize your own number.
Social security number as well. You should have all these memorized. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, you don't have to, but it's always good to have them memorized.
Mhm.
So you don't have to just whip a document out. But your phone number. I mean, that's a good tactic not to give your phone number. Oh, sorry, I don't have my phone. I don't... It would be funny though. He says, "Oh, I don't have my number memorized," but then the guy sees he's literally got his phone in his hand.
He's like,
That
I
would
don't
be
know,
really
man. I don't know
funny.
what to tell you. I'm sorry.
I don't think I can give it to you. I just don't know the number. It's literally in his hand.
He's just waving it around, like
Yeah,
twirling it in his fingers.
I just don't know, you know.
It could be anywhere. I lost it the other day. I
Yeah,
don't recognize my
I
number.
forgot where I put it. I mean, have you seen it? Maybe you've seen it.
Looks over at his
Just
friend.
in his face, like he's waving it in his face. Like I've just not seen it.
Yeah.
Never been at a social interaction like this before. Just waves the phone in his face. Oh,
I would love to see that. I would actually love to
yeah.
see that.
Well, it's a true story, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe you were behind it while it was happening. You never know. I mean, to witness that would make your day. I just don't know what my number is.
Oh,
The phone in your hand.
I've seen interactions like that all the time working in retail, and you just stare off
Yeah,
to the side and just stare at people like talking. You're like, this is the worst
yeah, yeah.
conversation I've ever heard.
I haven't personally been in retail, but I can imagine if I was, I would be very I'd sort of take the piss, but be nice. I'd be
Mm-hmm.
nice to people, but I'd take the piss. Like if someone says, it's like that what you said to me that that woman said. She said, "Oh, you'll be in business one day."
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I just start laughing. I just go, really, really. Wow, thank you. What a compliment. How long did that take you to come up with? What a strange compliment.
Yeah.
You're working in retail and you're going to be in business. I mean,
Wha- And and
it's
me
nice,
me
but
personally, I don't take compliments well at all. So I
yeah,
get really uncomfortable. You can see me like visibly sweat.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my god. Okay, lady.
Best thing to do, best thing to do with a compliment is just say, "Oh, well, thank you,"
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
because then the conversation ends. Just, well, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. See you later. Because what are they going to say after that? What are they going to say after you say, "Thank you, I really appreciate that"? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I want to think you'd be in this sector. 'Cause they do that. They are
Yeah,
crazy, and
yeah,
then you should end the conversation. Well, actually, I need to go and start a business. I'll see you later.
yeah.
You've got to get out of there when they start going off about what business you're going to be in and what year you're going to start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I told him that I didn't have my number memorized, but that I would write it. I would write his down and text him later. I kind of half waved my phone at him, pointing at that time. Uh, pointing out at the time my. What? Sorry, my bad. A
That's
point
okay.
pointing out my at the time boyfriend, whose picture was my
Oh, right. Okay.
wallpaper, making to the point to say, "Oh look, that's my boyfriend."
Wait, sorry, he did have his phone on him. Oh my God, I've just realized that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, he was literally waving the phone in his face saying, I don't know my number.
I don't know my
Wow,
number
that's
and I
fantastic.
can't look.
I feel sorry for this charity work. What if this charity work has got like a disability or something?
Yeah, that's
And
what
he's
I
just
was
trying to make
thinking.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just really trying to be nice. And this really awkward guy who's a bit of a, you know, you just think if you saw him in public, you
I.
just think, what are you doing? He probably everywhere he walks, he probably just looks really lost.
Mhm.
He probably thinks to himself every social interaction he's ever been in, he probably thinks,
Yeah.
I haven't been in an interaction like this before. Yeah, he's like, well, welcome to it,
Yeah.
you know, here's a start now. Get going now, Ugh. Sorry, I don't know my
I
number.
don't know it. I'm
Puts it right
sorry.
up to
I'm
his face.
sorry.
And the guy says, just go into your contacts. It should just have your number. Ah, yeah, just don't know where my phone's gone.
It just
Just thinking of the
puts it just
worst excuses
yeah,
ever.
just puts it back in the pocket. Don't know what to tell
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It's ran out of charge. It's still on. You can literally see the home screen. I was ran out of charge.
Mhm.
One of those things, isn't it? I'll give you it tomorrow. I'll be back here tomorrow. It moves country.
That sounds like something I would do. Just so
Yeah,
uncomfortable by a
it's
conversation, just leave.
so over the top though. Not like leave, move house or anything, or just don't go back to the store for a day. Moves country.
Leave,
Gets
like
a visa
completely
and
get out
everything.
of there. Uh, to the guy, hoping he would clue in, but no luck. He told me his number, which immediately upon getting, I blocked without letting him get my phone number. However, what made me what made my blood. However, what really made my blood run cold was what he said after I put my phone away. He leaned in real close and a low voice. He told me, "Whatever I text you is for your eyes only." I wouldn't like that
Well,
personally.
that's strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you just I'm guessing it's a girl. What if you just text her like charity work or something, like, links to donate to? Wouldn't that be hilarious? It's for your eyes only.
This is for
Links
your
to
eyes.
animal welfare and
Just the nicest
dogs
stuff ever.
trust. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cancer research here. It's just like my blood's run cold. Oh God.
My face turned white as a sheet. At this point, I started to feel genuinely uncomfortable. I said, "Yeah, sure, nice talking to you, but we gotta get back to shopping." Then I grabbed my friend and dragged her off, shooting a panic look at her and asking why she didn't bail me out. Apparently, he scared her too, with his getting so close to me, and she didn't know what to do. I want to make it clear.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
yeah, yeah.
her friend didn't help. What a
Well, yeah, I sort of see. I mean, I think when you've got friends should always help you in situations like they should always look whether you're uncomfortable. That's what I do. If I realize one of my mates is uncomfortable, I'll say something, and then I'll take that awkwardness, away from them because I know I can take it, right? But in this situation, they're obviously both terrified of what's happening. This
mm-hmm.
guy. I mean, it is strange. For your eyes only. That's strange to say, and ask for their number after seeing them. What was it, like over a year ago or something? Or it was a couple months back. It's like
Yeah.
that's strange.
Yeah, I wouldn't like any of that. I would.
It's not, it's not confirmed that this guy is a maniac, though. He might just be trying to do some charity work, and he just really doesn't know how to do it properly. So he just goes up to random people, "Have your number," and it's for your eyes only. It's just links to like charity stuff and donate buttons and
I
all
would love that. I would love if that's how
that.
it ended.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want to make it clear I'm not exactly a small girl. At 5'8" and solidly built, I can certainly handle myself, and I very rarely feel intimidated or small in the presence of anyone, male or female. But this guy made me feel tiny and scared. In the months that would follow, he would make me feel truly frightened. I had hoped that creepy interaction would be the last time I saw him, but that was unfortunately not the case. After the initial meeting with him, saying that creepy thing about his text being for my eyes only, it seemed like I would run into him every single time that I got to that store. No matter what checkout lane I was in, he always seemed to appear at the end of it when I was finished shopping. Piece of advice: go to another store. That's what I would do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a hard decision to make. You know, a different store would do wonders. But
Yeah,
I think as soon as that happens, I mean, I don't think this person is really suited for social interaction anyway. So maybe they should just do their shopping online.
yeah, yeah.
That's even better option. Then you're never gonna see anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
That's what
Another
I.
store though. That's great advice.
That's what I would do personally. I would not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd do that. I don't think I'd be intimidated. But I guess I'm not a girl, so I don't. It's a whole different ball game. I think because what can she do? The guy's a unit. He's like 6'4" or something. You know.
Yeah,
He's
and
probably taller than the shelves.
I'm a
So,
me personally. I'm a small guy.
yeah. Same. Yeah.
Like I'm barely 5'7" and I'm as thick as a twig.
Yeah.
So I would
But I
definitely be
think
freaked out.
you know. I, I know I can defend myself, but I think if I was her, the best thing to do is just get out of there.
Yeah.
For her personally.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And every time I was in the store, I would notice him out of the corner of my eye watching me, no matter what area I was in. One time I even caught him following me out to my car. At that point, I got scared and decided to say something to the managers. After letting the managers know what was going on, they assured me that they would tell him to not talk to me. After that, he wouldn't speak to me, but I would continue to see him following me around the store at a distance every time that I went up there. It got so bad that I felt so frightened that I started to be afraid to go to the store at all. Then don't go! Don't go.
Yeah, why would you return there, you know? I think maybe because I think we're jumping to the fact that it's a stalker because she said that, you know, in the title. But I think maybe she didn't think that time when she said, "Oh, that was weird." Anyway, you know, maybe she just brushed it off. But
Yeah.
as soon as it happens for a second time, that's when you start just, oh, maybe we should just go to the grocery store with the lights off.
Yeah, with
Maybe
the
that's the
lights
better
half
store to go to.
working.
Yeah, and all the food's off, and yeah.
And they ask us to come to the back to play poker.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's fun, you know. That you can have a good time there, you know. It's definitely a funner time than getting giving random people your phone number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make a bit of money on the side as well.
Yeah. Oh, I would. That's like going. That's like grocery shopping in Vegas. That's what that's like. Or
Yeah,
Reno.
yeah.
You go to a
Oh,
grocery
I think
store
I'll
and
have
they have
these chips.
They have slots
Yeah,
there. It's like,
yeah.
uh,
That's the life.
oh, absolutely. I can go get a gallon of milk and gamble $200.
Yeah,
Sign
you
me
can walk
up.
in. You can walk in, getting a gallon of milk, and then be $500 down when you walk out. That's cool, isn't it? That's really fun.
I can't
Yeah,
believe I just spent $500
just on
on
milk.
milk.
Yeah,
On milk alone.
yeah. Grocery shopping trips in Las Vegas must be so expensive. You walk in and then you're like, your mortgage is, you know, you've gambled your mortgage when you walk out, you know, and all you
Yeah.
wanted was some chips and maybe a steak or something. You know, your house is gone.
Oh, love that. That's so funny. Uh, um, but I am one of those stubborn people who refuses to be intimidated by someone to the point where I'll stop doing something. I had hoped that maybe it was a coincidence that he was following me. After all, it was a big store and maybe he just had to do those he just had things to do that just happened to be in the areas I was shopping in. So I started to pay close attention to my surroundings. First off, if it happens a second time, it's a coincidence.
Yeah,
Even third time, it still might be a coincidence. But
he has a good chance. Yeah,
the
yeah,
fourth
yeah.
time it happens,
You get the hell
it's
out of
not a
there.
coincidence. It's just not, like, at all.
Yeah. So, I mean, is she just seeing him in the store?
Like he followed her out to her car. First off, that's not a coincidence.
Uh, That's no, that's not.
No,
That is quite weird.
and no, he's just following her around this store.
Well, again, though, you know, we're jumping to conclusions. What if this guy is just being nice? You know, maybe he just wants to make sure she gets to a car, or maybe he's doing his own shopping while he's in the store. You know,
That's true.
I
Like
I think I'm
like
being a bit too defensive for this guy, but
like Mr. Smile taught us, some people
yeah,
just need help, and
yeah,
not
yeah,
everyone is as evil as the world perceives them.
exactly. Some people just need to be taught languages that no one else speaks,
Yes,
just like Mr. Smile.
absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Then he worked in a store in the last one.
yes, he did. Yeah,
Yeah, I love Mr. Smile.
he's a good man. He's a top class man. Yeah,
He's a great lad. I love him.
yeah.
He's
You
my
know, I
hero.
mean, who knows what happens to those kids? But this guy, you know, he works, he teaches people, you know, kids languages. You know, he can't beat a guy that just is out to help everyone. You know,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
he's packing people's groceries and then he teaches kids languages. You know,
Yeah,
and smiles all the time.
he's so nice. He will take you to the back of the store where the amazing stuff is.
Yeah,
He'll
yeah,
take
and
you
the
to a
poker
game
tournament's on
of
as well.
poker. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
There's
What
no
an
one
awesome
better than
guy.
Mr. Smile. There isn't.
Yeah, and he'll lock the door so the draft doesn't come in. So there's no, so there's no cold air. It's warm. It's nice and warm in the store. Just ignore the flies. That's okay. It's
Yeah.
just a little. He'll clean out tomorrow.
Mhm.
But the poker tournament's in the back. We got cold drinks. It's nice. And I can also teach you languages if you don't want to play poker. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh God.
Once I started really paying attention, I realized that every single time I was up there, I would constantly notice him in the areas of the store I was in. During my last encounter with him, I went up to the store to grab just 2 or 3 items I needed for dinner that night. And I first saw him standing outside the store when I got there. And with his back to me, I quickly ran inside, hoping he didn't see me. Unfortunately, a few minutes later, I saw him at the very back of the store, and items in hand, I immediately made a beeline towards the front. Also, I would assume that he would recognize your car if he's
Yeah.
if he's this entranced by you.
Yeah, he probably knows like the registration and
Yeah.
what when the next tax when the next MOT needs to be done and the tire pressures. He probably knows all of it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
because he
tire
probably
pressure.
yeah, he probably just knows everything. This
Your
guy's a
tire pressure's
stalker.
at 52. Should
Yeah, you
probably
need to get
lower
that
that.
checked up.
You need to lower
Yeah.
that a little bit.
Yeah, if you're going too quick, it might blow up. You just you want a nice ride as well. You don't want to be every bump is bumpy.
Yeah.
He's just really caring. I think maybe he's like close to Mr. Smile.
Yeah.
I love Mr. Smile. He's top class. He really is.
Mm-hmm. The best of
We
the
need more
best.
people like that nowadays. To be honest,
Mr.
just
Smile is the goat.
outgoing. Yeah, he's the goat. Outgoing and he never frowns. He's always smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lovely guy.
Love him. So weird. So dumb.
Yeah,
Love it.
he's a guy that like kidnaps kids.
We're rooting for him. We're rooting for
Yeah,
him.
we never stop smiling though. So if you do everything with a smile, it can't be bad, surely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As soon as I got near the checkout, I ducked behind one of the shelf displays and watched carefully at the front of the store to see if Cece would appear. And he did. Cece?
Who's Cece?
I guess it's her stalker. It's the first time it says it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe
Maybe
it's
it's
the worst typo
again
ever.
though. It could be Mr. Smile's cousin. I think I'm really trying to make Mr. Smile work, and Mr. Smile lives probably like 5 states away. He has absolutely nothing to do with this story, but
Yeah.
because he's such a nice guy, I just want him to be involved in everything.
Yeah. He
He's
is
touched
everywhere.
everyone's hearts, really.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's in our souls. He'll always be a part of us. Mr. Smile will be, whether you like it or not.
He's in the back of my mind always.
Well, he's in my dreams, so
Yeah.
like,
I
what can
tried
do,
knocking him out, and I just see him in my
Yeah,
dreams.
he just appears. He just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah. And he did. And watched carefully at the front of the store to see if he would appear, and he did. I watched as he looked up and down the checkout, and when he didn't see me there, I saw him step outside. At this point, I quickly ran into the nearest open cashier, rang up my items, and stuck my head out of the door to look for him. I didn't see him there immediately, so I started trying to make my way back to where I was parked. I had parked a ways away, near the side of the store, where a bunch of other smaller stores and restaurants were lined up. As I was walking towards my car, I realized I saw him standing by the entrance that I had first entered the store through. I ducked behind a pillar immediately, hoping he didn't see me. I watched carefully from behind the pillar, and as he scanned the parking lot, he obviously couldn't find me. After a minute or two, he started to walk out towards the direction of the parking lot in the front of the store, and so I took the opportunity to make a run for my car as soon as possible. as he was far enough away that I felt safe. As soon as I got into my car and locked the doors, and to my horror, when I looked up, he was standing there, about 15 feet from my car with a shopping cart in front of him. I knew he followed me. He knew I knew. I fully believe.
Game over.
Yeah, no. This is like a FNAF jump scare.
Yeah, yeah. It's like in every horror game, you know, when your character looks up and he just stood there staring at you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they're just waiting for you to move.
yeah. Just run him over. That's a good plan. I'd do that.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like in 2016 when all those clowns were attacking people and they
Yeah,
just kept on
yeah.
getting run over.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
absolutely, I'm doing that.
That's a great plan. Vehicular manslaughter. And it's
It's the
not a
best
bad
plan.
charge. It could be worse.
That's true. I knew he followed me. He knew I knew. I fully believed he had chased me. He had chased after me. And when I made it to my car, he grabbed the nearest cart to make it look like he was collecting them from the parking lot. I remember just feeling absolutely terrified at that moment. I went home and immediately told my grandfather what had happened. Oh, his grandfather? Her grandfather? Maybe it's a skinwalker.
Oh my God. That is so true. Because remember in the last episode,
Yes.
there was the granddad who didn't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
you know? Maybe he doesn't want to talk about this guy.
Yeah, we're not there yet. Maybe that's what
Yeah.
uh
All these things tie in at the end of the day. I bet it's all in the same city, you know?
oh, yes.
Imagine it's
Absolutely.
all in Alabama. If people say Ohio's bad, nah, it's
It's
Alabama's where it's at.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Told my grandfather what had happened. I began crying and shaking, and my grandfather told me to get in the car and we were going to settle this. He and I drove to the store in his car, and as he walked me into the store, he demanded that we spoke with the managers. Immediately, both of them. When the managers arrived at customer service, he asked me to tell them what had been happening. He asked me to tell them what had been happening and demanded that they ensure that he left me alone or he would involve the police. The managers swore up and down that they would take care of it. As far as I know, he wasn't fired immediately because my friend, who first encountered him with me when this whole thing began, told me that she would see him from time to time when she was there by herself. But that anytime I went with her, she would never see him. I fully believe he knew whenever I was there. Only this time, instead of stalking me, he was avoiding me. Eventually, everyone who knew the situation stopped seeing him there. So, I think he may have gotten fired or moved from that store. Either way, I haven't had any issues since. But I have never felt so afraid from another human, so afraid of another human being as I did seeing him make eye contact with me in that parking lot as I locked my car doors. It still creeps me out to think that he was watching me so closely every time I entered that store and that he could easily avoid or follow me whenever he wanted. So, to the guy who stalked me every time I went to the grocery store for 4 months straight, let's never meet again.
Imagine that poor guy just wanted to tell her, your brake light's out. Imagine that though. Imagine all that time she's been like, oh, he's following me, and he's like, oh, I just don't want to shout. I just don't want to make a scene, but your brake light's out.
There,
It just really wants to tell her, but oh, he gets fired for it. What a poor
dude,
guy.
you just blew my mind because there's an urban legend just like that. There's an urban legend where this lady, she's driving in a car and
Yeah.
there's someone in the back seat and there's a guy chasing her, flashing
Right.
his headlights, and she stops and she's like,
Yeah.
"Someone call the police." And he's like, "No. There's a murderer in your car."
What? What?
Yeah, that's an urban
Okay.
legend.
I mean, when you flash your headlights or something, that's to get them to pull over because you need to, you know. And what you normally do is you flash your headlights and you point either to like a tire or a light, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then maybe they'll realize, hopefully. But a murderer, that's hilarious.
No,
As I'm murdering your car. How do you know?
it's a silly story.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
actually ridiculous.
yeah. Poor guy though got fired because he just wanted to tell us something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was too shy, so he wanted to tell her on text messages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe there was someone watching her, and that's why he said for your eyes only.
yeah. That
Yeah.
is honestly. See, all these people that write these posts are also self-centered. What if it is really people just trying to be nice? Kindness nowadays is people take it the wrong way. And at the end of the day, you should just step back and let the murderer tell you that your brake light's out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or the kidnapper let them take you into the back of the store to kidnap you
Mm-hmm.
slash let you play some poker.
Play some poker,
Or Mr. Smile to invade your dreams and teach you languages.
yeah. Yeah.
But smile, that's what it's about. Smile. You might be getting murdered, but always remember to smile.
Remember, just it'll all pass, and
Yeah,
just
yeah, it will
be
all
happy.
pass.
Be happy that it'll be over soon.
Oh yeah, yeah, it will all. But bad times happen. The strong ones that get through it are um okay or something. Mr. Smile.
Something. Yeah,
Mr.
Mr.
Smile
Smiles.
got through it.
Yeah,
Mr. Smile was brought in on so many charges, and he kept a smile through the whole thing. So
yeah,
that guy's top class. He knew he was innocent.
yeah,
All he did was teach them languages,
yeah,
and oh well, he did commit a crime by the illegal poker games in the back of his grocery store,
yeah. That is a
and
problem.
also selling of produce that's out of date. But you
Yeah,
know, they're just Mr. Smile things, really, aren't they?
he comes from a different place, so
Yeah, yeah, different culture.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's just what
he's
he's
he,
used
well, he comes from an alien planet, I think, because he speaks a
to.
language that no one else speaks. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he's an enigma.
yeah. But just because we don't understand him doesn't mean we should shun him.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
Yeah,
100% on board.
yeah. Just because he stole your kids doesn't mean we should put him down. You know.
Mm-hmm. Uh, you ready for the creepy pasta?
Oh, I am so ready. I'm
All
so ready for this.
right. This might actually be scary. Who knows?
Okay, well that's a start. That's a first, I should say. That is a first.
This is definitely a first. A one that might actually be genuinely creepy. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not sure,
yeah, yeah.
but I'm open-minded.
Oh,
But I'm open-minded.
oh yeah, yeah. Best way to go into things.
Hmm. While waiting in a line at the store for a self-checkout terminal, a man casually slid up to me and
Assaulted? Okay, right.
it was
I thought
spelled.
you said
I'm pretty
a
sure.
man casually assaulted me. Yeah.
Pretty
I could
sure there's a
casually assault
typo.
someone.
Pretty sure it's a
Right.
typo, so I'm just assuming it's slighted.
Right, okay, okay.
A man casually slided up to me and asked if I mind lending him a few dollars as he was short on cash. I glanced at his handbasket and saw he only had a few items. Saw fruit, bottled water, packs of tuna, a loaf of bread,
Right.
and offered to just pay for his groceries, seeing as how the cost wouldn't be more than $10 or $15. I hadn't put much in my cart, so our combined totals wouldn't even break the bank. He looked at me as if I offended him. Oh, not offended, my bad. He looked at me as if I had offered him my kidney, his eyes watering, his lip quivering.
Can I just say, I would
Yes.
also be offended if I was casually assaulted. So,
Did
yeah,
you just slap
I'd be
the
quite
shit
offended.
out of me?
Yeah, yeah. Did you just break my jaw? Wow, that's on video.
That was
Oh.
that was quite rude. That was quite rude of you.
Oh yeah. Why it's so casually just assaulting people? I mean, that's ridiculous, you know? I come to this grocery store with the flies on the meat and you know
Poker in
to
the
shop.
back.
Yeah.
And the six
Can I
four
just say something
creepy
as well?
guy. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I must say, in all these, I know this one's the creepypasta, but in
Yeah.
all these stories, right? The thing is with stories, you shouldn't over describe something. Now, I know in school they would say, "Oh, describe the thing that you're talking about," but they over. So, how does this person remember exactly what that guy? He had tuna, he had fruit, he had bread. Why can't it be he had an assortment of low cost items?
Not sure.
Bread and make a tuna sandwich, and then the fruit would be for after because he needs.
Oh my.
Like, why do you have to explain all of that? It could just be, and he had a basket with like not much in it, so I thought it would be nice. It
Mm-hmm.
just that's not the important part. The food that he has isn't the important part. The important part is that he looked like he was going to take your liver because you offered him money. No, he offered like not that you were going to give him. No, not that he was going to take it. You were giving him the liver.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I made a mistake there. Yeah, he's going to take your liver.
Uh,
Casually assaulting again.
Casually assaulting. Offers him a
That's such a
kidney.
great line.
Casually.
Yeah, offers a kidney. Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
sorry. I did know I assaulted you, but I actually need a kidney transplant. So if you could just spare me one of your kidneys, that'd be awesome. You know what? I know you did casually assault me, but I believe in forgiveness.
forgive and forget is what I always say.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I
Uh,
did. Yeah, I know you broke my jaw, but and I don't actually know how I'm speaking because you broke my jaw, but you know, I'll give you a kidney, and I'll
mm-hmm.
pay for your shopping as well.
uh, his eyes watering and lip quivering. Before he could say anything, I told him that it'd be alright, and I wouldn't mind at all, and nudged my card over so he could deposit his items. He gave a heartful smile and nodded his head and added his items to the cart. The line cleared. I paid for what we had gathered and gave him his items. As gratefully as he could, he thanked me and shook my hand, and we parted ways. I went home uh, with that little warm feeling in my chest that arises after you've done a nice thing for someone, and a hope that he'd pass on the gesture to someone else. Well, he did, just not in the way I would have ever expected. Alright, you want to guess what he did?
Um, can you just read the last part for me, just so I can have a good idea?
Yeah. He gave me my things and we parted ways, having developed a little grocery. Oh, wait. Sorry. I accidentally read the wrong thing. I went home with that little warm feeling in my chest that arises after you've done a nice thing for someone and hoped that he passed that gesture on to someone else. Well, he did, just not in the way I would have ever expected.
Hmm. I think he robbed the bank and gave the money out to homeless people.
That's nice.
I think he made tuna sandwiches and split them up into fours
Mm-hmm.
and ate them, but he put one in the fridge, so he would like he'd have one day, and then the next day of the week he'd have one, just one of the four pieces, and then I think he would do that, yeah, just to save food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think that's really nice of him.
Yeah.
I think, I think he performed open heart surgery for absolutely free.
What is he, Mr. Beast?
Does Mr. Beast perform open heart surgery
He
for
will.
free?
He will one day.
Well, he'll open up someone's heart.
Yes.
I mean himself.
Yes!
Wow. I've gained a lot of respect for Mr. Beast. I mean, if he has like a medical degree and like 10 years
Uh,
of training, he is truly a beast. I mean, that is,
beast mode.
he's talented. He's talented. He knows how to make money and he knows how to perform open heart surgery.
Hmm.
Yeah, open heart surgery while eating tuna sandwiches. It's good that.
The following day, I went back to the same store to grab a drink and a snack. About the same time I had gone yesterday, and mildly surprising, the same man was also there. Again, his handheld basket carried the same few items. He saw me. Our eyes, well, our eye met, not eyes. Our singular eye. Our eye met.
Wow, they were both one-eyed. Wow, maybe Mr. Beast should do that eye surgery on both of them. Maybe
Yeah.
they should get in contact. They've got a good chance there of Mr. Beast doing them a big favor,
Big.
a beast favor.
Beast favorite.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I know what he's done then. So now I have a bit more context. Now he's back at the store.
Mm.
He's probably skinned an animal and taxidermied it, and has given that as a gift.
I would accept it, me personally.
It depends what animal though. What if it's like a tarantula or something? I don't know how you
No.
taxidermy that, but
No. Not a
I'd say, do you know
not a
what, mate?
bug.
That's really lovely, but you just keep hold of that.
I I am so terrified of arachnids. My face,
Oh, I hate them. Yeah,
my
yeah,
entire body would turn white, and I would scream like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
yeah.
My
I,
eyes
I, I
would
wouldn't do
bulge out, and I would run.
that. I wouldn't do that because I'm in a store. So I would probably go, oh, thanks. I'd just say, do you know what? I'm not a big fan of tarantulas, and he'd probably get really offended and then like kill me or something.
Yeah,
He's probably like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's probably like made like a skin mask or something for him. I was going, here you go.
oh my
I made that for you because
gosh.
you paid for me shopping. Actually, I've got. Can you pay for it again? I'll
Hmm.
come back with two arms next time. And he's like building a whole body out of like skin or something.
What? What the hell?
Yeah, why not?
What the hell?
Just because it's not part of your culture.
That's true. But from what we
Never
learned
judge.
from Mr. Smile, we can't judge other people's cultures.
Exactly. Oh, we are honestly we're so progressive on this on
This
this
is
uh
this
this
is
episode.
this is the most
Honestly.
progressive episode ever.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Democrats are gonna love us. They're gonna really love us. Yeah, they do support murderers, but they're accepting of them, and
They're
that's what
accept-
matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Our eye met, and for a moment I thought, oh boy, I hope he isn't some kind of grifter getting strangers to buy him things every day. But then he smiled and pointed at the drink and chips in my hand, gesturing for me to put them in his basket. I complied, thanking him and sharing a laugh at the coincidental nature of it all. He gave me my things and we parted ways again, having developed a little grocery store friendship. He's like Mr. Smile. He's like one of his.
I thought you were gonna say he's like Mr. Beast.
He's like Mr. Beast.
pays for your shopping, but only on a really small scale.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't pay for like a massive cart and then give you like $1,000. He'll pay for like an energy drink and go, yeah, that's another life saved. He's like really
He's like
delusional.
wiping his brow. He's like, whew,
Yeah.
another hard day for me.
Yeah, I'm in the good books now. I'm going to heaven.
I was thinking the same thing. Definitely going to heaven for this one. Never
Oh,
mind
yeah.
all the
God's
murders I've
seen that one.
committed. Going to heaven.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's gonna love the skin suit that I've made him. Oh God.
Ugh. I saw him again 3 days later at the same store at the same time. Again, he carried a basket with only a few items, those single-serve packets of tuna, some fruit, and a loaf of bread. A couple of bottles of water. Something about the regularity of our meeting
Mm,
and his seemingly unchanging diet unnerved me. Really?
yeah.
What if it's...
Well, tuna. I mean, I've never been a big fan of tuna, but it's a bit samey. I get a bit get a bit bored of it. Maybe you should add a bit more maybe not protein, but maybe you should add a bit more variety into his
Hmm.
diet.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs to throw in like a you know steak or maybe some chicken
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of the tuna. Maybe he's a part-time fish.
A part-
Oh
He's
my
a
God.
part-time
He's a
fish.
part-time fish. Yeah, yeah. He's like Aquaman, he's like he's on an all fish diet because he is a part-time fish. But he has to do like a day job and he has to make money.
I don't
He's got
remember
like a fish
Aquaman
family that he
ever
comes home
being
to.
part-time fish.
You don't think you could be a part-time fish?
How does that work?
Well, okay, I'm gonna set this out for you.
Okay,
So
thank you.
he will he has a fish family, right? He comes home and he's got like his fish wife. He's got two fish kids, right? And he comes home from like a 12-hour shift of being a human because they've got to make money for the fish life,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And she's like always arguing when he comes back home, and
Mhm.
all he wants is some tuna. So yeah, that's his fish life, part-time fish. But it's only part-time because he works more than he sleeps, and he sleeps as a fish, but then he works as a human. So
That might be one of the most terrifying visuals I've ever. He turns into like anamorphs into a man, but he's a
look,
fish.
the details are lost in the nether, but what matters is he is a good dad. So
That's
yeah,
true. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I don't know how he's a good dad.
yeah,
He probably kills people, but
yeah. Part-time
he's
fish
always been
dad.
there for his son though when he's needed him. So that's what matters.
Yeah, that's like when people like rob other
Yeah,
like houses for their family to like.
yeah, yeah,
It's like, yeah,
yeah.
you're
And there's like
committing a crime, but you're doing it for a good reason. So can I really blame you?
yeah, and then they got shot by a 12 gauge, and everyone's like, "Oh, oh, he didn't deserve it. He's just robbing this poor person's house." There's like that moral dilemma of, "Oh, well, he was doing it for the kids, but also he was robbing a person,
Yeah,
a
stealing my
part-time. He was
stuff.
robbing a part-time fish. Part-time fish, right? They have guns, so
What about
they live in
him
a
then?
red state, so don't mess with them."
Why? What? Okay. Are they a
Yeah.
minority, the part-time fish, or
They're, no, they live in a red state and they're gun friendly.
okay?
So
Then
they protect their property, they protect their family. I think we've gone from progressive back over to
yeah, I think we.
Republican now. We've gone from Democrat to
I
Republican.
think we
We've
need to
got a
watch. I
wide
think we
swing.
need to watch it. I think we need to watch it.
Yeah, we need
Uh,
to get back to the center.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The center being this magnificent story of this part-time
just being a
fishman.
human, to be honest. That's just being a human because you're either a Democrat, which is aliens, or you're either a Republican, part-time fish. So it's
What?
varied.
That
Yeah,
might be
yeah.
one of the best things I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that's what we found out today about the politics in of Alabama.
You're
So,
either you're either
the
part-time
part-time fish
fish
carry guns, and the Democrats are aliens who speak languages that no one else speaks.
and always smile.
But always smile. Yeah, exactly. They always smile. So yeah,
Oh, I think we've opened up a can of worms in this.
Pandora's box we've opened. That's what we've opened.
Pandora's, Pandora's
Yeah.
box.
Or I was gonna say Alabama's box, but it doesn't really fit as well. It doesn't
No.
rhyme as well. So
Uh. Anyway, so his diet was unnerving him. His all tuna diet. Despite this man's completely harmless appearance and outward nature, I nonetheless felt that there was something off about him. But I didn't want to sour the little acquaintanceship we develop. So I waved and politely asked him about his Spartan diet. He laughed and replied that they were the items he went through most often, assuring me that his palate wasn't so sorry, wasn't so limited. I
yeah,
remarked,
it's like salmon and.
Just all fish.
All different fish. Yeah, it's not just tuna, so don't worry about that. It's all different fish, and sometimes it's even seaweed as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. Part of his
Yeah,
part of his part-time fish diet.
yeah, yeah. The wife isn't a great cook, but she tries her best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, wasn't so limited. Uh, I remarked that I'd have no room to criticize considering my own relatively simple tastes. Thinking the interaction was over, I said see you later and went over to the next available self checkout terminal. As I finished scanning my last item and prepared to pay, he came up beside me, resting his basket on the counter. He locked eyes with me and said, "Have you forgotten? It's your turn to cover things."
Oh fuck.
Ah,
Oh.
shit!
And he opens the app on his phone. He's got $2 in the bank, and he's like, "Fuck, this part-time relationship is over." You know,
Because I listen. I can't afford to do
like
this.
I can't afford the tuna fund. You know,
I
it's
can't.
gonna have to be put on a hold for a week
Mm-hmm.
until I get paid by the alien fund.
Alien care.
Yeah. I like how no one can be human in this either.
No,
It's like they're either aliens or they're fish, you know?
no. The victims are humans.
Yeah, yeah. But the victims are probably the stupidest as well,
Yeah,
you know?
that
The
really
fish
says
have
something, though.
a really high IQ, so.
Yeah. Well, part-time fish people.
Well, no, sorry. The part-time fish don't have a high IQ. They have uh, they have values, right? And the aliens, they have really high IQs, but they're like 2 years old.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. It's
What
like
the
you
fuck
ever
does
seen
that
Aliens? It's like
mean?
they hatch out the eggs and they're already like running around killing people.
Dude, I am
But
having
Mr.
some
Smile doesn't. He's a
serious
pacifist.
deja vu right now. Oh my gosh. Uh,
Yeah, deja vu. Has this
yeah.
really happened in America?
What? What?
No, you said you got deja vu. Have you seen fish people before or aliens?
No, not from like the. Yes, yes, that's what I mean.
Okay,
Not from
let's
this
just say that is what you
conversation.
meant.
Not from this conversation. Just remembering that I've seen fish people. It's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what you meant. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
I like that. I like that.
Uh,
Yes, I've seen fish people.
yeah.
That's a normal thing to say. Oh.
I was taken aback since I had never once thought that it'd be a regular thing, us paying for each other's items every time that we happened to meet. But not wanting to make a scene and having enough money to cover everything, I complied, even sheepishly apologizing for having forgotten. His ever present smile broadened, and he nodded in thanks. You know, maybe this guy isn't. Maybe he's not a part time fish because he smiles too much.
Oh my goodness. I know someone that smiles a bit too much.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Does this.
And he teaches languages, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, no, I do think he's a part-time fish because um his wife's on business leave, so he goes home happy. That's why he's smiling more than usual.
Oh,
Yeah,
got
because she always
it.
argues with
Okay.
him because the kids don't know that he's a full-time human and a part-time fish, but the wife does. So she's always like, you know, she always argues with him about stuff because she knows that, and the kids don't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big dynamic in this whole fish universe, you know.
That's sad.
It's
That's really
it
sad.
is, isn't it? Really, it's quite sad, but you know that's why in these stories you can't initially think the guy who's supposedly weird is the bad guy because maybe he's just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
His part-time fish life.
yeah,
That is
it's
one of the
grueling, you know.
silliest things I've ever heard in my life. I love it.
Yeah, but he pulls it out for the kids, you know, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
So yeah, what a good man.
What a yeah. I'm changed. I'm forever changed
Oh yeah,
by this
yeah,
part-time
yeah.
fish's actions. He took his portion of the bags and departed, leaving me more than a little disturbed. Still, nothing actually hostile had happened, so I didn't make a fuss about it to the staff, who I'm sure hadn't noticed our odd exchange. At that moment, I did decide to never visit that store at the same time, just so I wouldn't have to deal with him again. I couldn't cover his purchases forever. A few
He's
days.
never gonna buy tuna ever again.
No.
His family are gonna starve.
Yeah, he needs it.
Yeah,
A few days
that's
later,
quite sad.
that is really tragic. A few days later, I was back at the store. Only I had only gone before work at 7 a.m. when the store was first opened. I was the first one in and felt a huge relief seeing the self-checkout completely clear when I had gathered what I needed. But just as I was about to hit pay now on the touchscreen pad, a hand stopped mine. Turning, I saw him standing there with a smile on his face and his same peculiar assortment of items in his cart. Utterly shocked, I just stood there. Using his needlessly solid grip on my hand, he lightly pushed me aside. He proceeded to quietly scan his own items, then selected pay now and inserted his own money. You know, this entire thing, it's a message. Because even though Mr. Smile is not the same as this part-time fish, they're both the same in the smile. It's what connects them. It's what makes them
Yeah,
human
yeah.
together.
Yeah, that's right. It's more than just, you know, it's more than just what their values are. They may be totally different people when it comes down to their values, but what connects them as humans is the smile, and I think that's what connects us all.
That
Is when we just smile. You
that's
know, we may
beauty.
may hate each other, we may fight against each other, but what connects us is when we just smile.
Yeah. That is
Isn't that lovely?
that is so damn beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. Despite the charitable gesture, there was an almost palpable aula. So dumb. I can't read. There was a
Is that
almost.
someone? Is that someone different, or is that like
No, I
another
just
creepy
misread it.
pasta? Yeah. There's another fish person.
Yeah, aula.
Yeah.
There was almost palpable aura of malice about him,
Mm.
as if that kind act was somehow subtly unkind. It honestly freaked me out, and I would have just left, abandoning the roughly $45 in groceries if he hadn't been holding onto my hand. But then the machine spat out the receipt he deposited into one of my bags and released the grip. I didn't even bother thanking him. I just grabbed my stuff and headed out the front. But before I could exit, he called out, "Remember, next one's on you." I didn't respond. I practically ran to my car. For the for the next round of groceries a week later, I went to a completely different store on the other side of town.
Mm.
Still, there was the feeling of a trepidation as I gathered my items, pushing my cart carefully, peeking around corners, hoping not to spot him. I even avoided the aisles that held the items he constantly purchased, dreading to see him browsing the shelves. Finally, ready to pay and leave, I walked toward the self-checkout as a death row inmate might walk into the chair, each step carrying a grim weight.
That is a strange simile.
Yeah,
That's really strange. You
he's
know,
he's
just
not gonna
just like a
die
death
from
row
this.
inmate. You know, yeah,
He's not
yeah.
gonna die
All
from
the guys,
this.
the guy thought there was like a friendship brewing, and now it's like, oh, it was like I was a death row inmate. That's strange.
Yeah.
Don't worry though, fish guy. He's prices have gone up at the other store, so he's actually at this one now. So you'll find that out quite soon.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be here.
Yeah.
My fears and anxiety were confirmed. Even though I hadn't seen him anywhere in the store, he was there, waiting behind an old woman who was doubtlessly oblivious to the man's almost logic defying presence.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't made a sound in my approach, but he still turned around as if sensing me. He smiled and raised his basket, and there were the same usual items inside. A register opened and he nodded toward it. motioning for me to go ahead, and, as if being led to some terrible fate by unyielding hands, I went to the register. But even though I followed his order, I swore to myself then and there I wouldn't pay for his items. I began scanning my things, and while sensing his gaze, knowing he was waiting for me to finish before coming over to add his own, when the last item was scanned, I carefully retrieved my card from my wallet, not wanting to show this man how utterly terrified I was. And as expected, he came over and began unloading his basket to the counter. With enough force to stop him, but not enough to draw attention, I put my hand down and whispered, "No." It took a mad it took a mad fight against my nerves, but I managed to look up and meet his gaze, and for the first time I noticed how off his eyes were. They were fish eyes.
And he also noticed, yeah, they were fish eyes, and he had gills on his neck as well.
Gills.
He also yeah.
He's like fish man.
Yeah. And then as soon as he took his shoes off, he had flippers. Oh, it all unravels, really, doesn't it?
Really
You know,
does.
what he should have said was, he should have said, no more of this fishy business. That would have been a good one.
That would have been a solid good one.
Fantastic. Oh.
How off his eyes were. Not necessarily in the alignment on his face, but the way that they stared. The smoldering intensity behind an otherwise normal pedestrian appearance. It was an expression of someone who had been born unhinged and had only adapted normal, sane society, rather than someone sane who had slowly cracked under some great stress or pressure. Somehow my resolve held, and I didn't back down from that face of carefully contained lunacy. He smiled, and to my complete surprise, he began returning his items to his basket, not wasting the opportunity to escape. I inserted my card, paid, and gathered my bags, risking looking back, and saw him talking to another man, whom, after inclining his head to listen, shrugged his shoulder and nodded. My unhinged acquaintance then put his items in the man's cart, and then together they headed to the register that I had just left. A sense of duty to my fellow man compelled me to warn that guy, even at some unknown risk to my own person. I started to head over, but someone grabbed my arm at the last moment. It was a woman, someone I had never seen before. She looked utterly depressed, her hair unsheveled, and her eyes sunken, her cheeks hollow, as if she had some buccal fat removed operation. Quietly, she pulled...
What a strange thing to think when looking at someone.
Yeah. Quietly, she pulled me aside. Don't you have a day, maybe two, what you have in your cart there? Can you live off that for a week? I looked down, automatically assessing the contents, even as I shuddered at the urgency in her voice. I spent about $75, which I knew wouldn't last me long these days. I met her gaze. She must have seen the doubt in my face, because she pulled me closer and said, "It doesn't matter. Just eat as conservatively as you can. That man over there, the one that you've presumably been bumping into here or at other stores, he's psychotic. And that's if he's even human. He's half fish. We called it."
What?
No, he's not.
Ah, I was getting really excited then. That's completely ruined it for me.
That's
I thought I was so
ruined it.
convinced he was a fish, and then you said he was a fish, and I was like, no way! I knew it. I
Knew he was a
I
fish,
just
man.
didn't-
Actually, the story's not over, so he could still be
Well,
a
it could
fish.
be. Yeah, it could be. So yeah.
He's even human. He's gotten the same stuff every time, right? Tuna, fish, some fruit, some water, bread. Never deviating from that. How do I know? Because that's what I sent my husband to get out 6 months ago. He had told me how he bumped into this stranger who'd ask him if he could pay for something. a dictionary, and a book of maps. My husband complied, not compelled. My husband complied, figuring the man to be homeless or something like that. My husband had those items in his cart: the tuna, water, fruit, and bread. At that time, he said that they parted ways on friendly terms, but that the man had seemed off, strange in an undefiable way. Well, we he saw him again the next day grabbing some other things we needed. This time the stranger had a cart and the same items my husband had bought the day before we were in there. The stranger paid for my husband's items, being just as friendly as he had been before. But then they again. And I'm sure you can guess what items were in the man's basket. There was a certain manna in her eyes, though one that was obviously born of long held anxiety, if not full blown terror. She wasn't crazy, not like him. She had experienced something awful, and that had been able to truly express herself to someone until meeting me. Hearing the ding of items being scanned at a leisurely pace behind me, I told her to continue. Finally, my husband said no, that he wouldn't pay for the man's items anymore, that he had grown uncomfortable with the whole affair. He said that the man didn't seem to be offended and allowed my husband to finishing checking out unbothered. My husband came home and told me about what happened, and we had a little laugh about the absurdity of it all. And then, the next day, I came home from work to find several grocery bags on the kitchen table. We hadn't needed groceries. He'd stock up at the last time, presumably so he wouldn't have to deal with that man for a while. So, I was understandably upset by how much he'd spent. But before I could even call out for him, I saw a puddle beneath the table. What? Oh. I genuinely thought it was like an actual puddle. This story, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, where was I? It was bright red and still expanding via a steady stream of crimson from the table's surface. The inner animal part of me understood at once, but I still continued forward, my conscious mind unable to accept that anything so monstrous could have happened in our civilized society. I opened the bag at the nearest edge of the table and saw my husband's face staring up at me, pale and lifeless. He had been savagely dismembered and bagged. I immediately knew who the culprit was, called the police when I managed to recover. But they didn't do much. Couldn't. The man's face was mysteriously blurred in the store's security footage. There had never been a clear shot of him. Eventually, I mustered the courage to wait around the store and eventually saw him, tracked him, and even pointing him out, but the face was never clear, and the police refused to take any action, not wanting to risk causing any trouble for some random person. Afraid to be sued, I guess. I know they think I'm crazy, but you don't, right? You've been through it. You know what he's like. It's why I'm telling you to leave here and go as far away as you can. My husband may have been the first, but you aren't the second. I've watched him do this to others. I've tried to warn them. I hope that they've listened. I'd approach that man myself, confront him in front of everyone, but I'm scared. You can't blame me, can you? After what he did to my husband, I can't fight him. I won't try. But I can warn others, even if it means driving to every store in the town out of business or making a fool of myself to strangers. With a final, tearful smile, she ushered me ahead of her. I glanced back, saw the allegedly mysterious man shaking hands with the latest friend, and hurried out the door. I hope the woman manages to convincingly warn the man before it's too late.
Wow.
That was a good one. That was...
Yeah, that was a good story as well. As well done. I think it's obvious though. You know, That guy, half fish,
Fish.
mafioso.
Part-time fish mafia man.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Because the police are too scared to do anything about him because he's in the fish underworld, and um, the husband went missing, right? Or he's bagged up or whatever,
Yeah, his head was
just like the mafia
decapitated.
would do.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Like in The
Yeah, that's a
Godfather with the horse
yeah,
head.
it's yeah, horsehead. Yeah, exactly. It's a
Yeah.
mafia move, you know. It's all planned. All the, that's just fish. That's just fish business. You know what I mean? That's just fishy business. That's
Fishy.
what they always say.
Yes.
You know,
Oh
that's
my
just fishy
gosh.
business, guys.
I think we got it.
Oh yeah,
I think we
yeah,
figured it
definitely.
out.
And his face was blurred out. That's some mafia tech, probably. I don't know. That's some fish tech.
Yeah, some
You know.
fish magic, possibly.
See, I don't know if you've ever been to a fishing store, but you never go to the back, do you? That's where they got all the fish technology. Like camera disruptors
Right.
and
I've never
and
been to the back
decapitation
of a fish
devices. That's
store.
where they've all got it for the fish. The fish
Oh my gosh. You blew my mind.
the fish mafia. Yeah, it's all at the fishing shops. Yeah, yep. It's obvious from the start, really, isn't it?
Now that I see the entire picture, I
yeah, yeah.
oh my
Just got to get
gosh.
that extra context,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just need a little, just a little hint
Yeah,
to where you're going, and then you get there.
yeah, yeah. It's perfect, and it's just so clear. Yeah, fish mafia, part-time fish mafia. So when he's a fish, he's in the mafia, and when he's a human, he's just getting shopping and going to work. But his work is like at a garbage disposal, where the mafia would work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's perfect. You know,
Well, Rickshaw,
all makes sense.
this, this, this was enchanting. I'm. This was a
It
great
was
one.
enchanting. It was fishy, but it was enchanting.
Yes, we met some
Yeah.
characters along the way to continue
Oh
along
yeah.
with us. We finally figured out the Democrats and Republicans of, you know.
Yeah. The fish and alien world. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Some old characters, some new.
yeah,
You
and
know.
I'm so excited to see where the future holds.
Oh yeah. There's a whole universe brewing.
Oh, and we'll discover it all. We really will.
Oh yeah. 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 This is where it starts.
Oh, this is truly
Definitely.
truly the start. It's like the prelude. It's like the
Oh
prelude.
yeah.
The last couple of them, but this is where like the heart of the heart of
Yeah.
the
This is where the
universe.
foundation gets laid.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is how Rome was built. They did the foundations first,
Hmm.
and then the pillars went up, and these are the pillars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well,
A part-time fish mafioso, Mr. Smile, the guy that pulled a gun on his wife.
yeah.
Um, you got the evil dog.
The
The evil
fat
chihuahua
man,
that like kill
the fat
people.
man in the last one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the tickle fighting people as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Can't forget them. Yep. Yeah. That's just the beautifulness of Alabama.
Oh,
There's so many different characters there, and that's why it's a melting pot of all different ideas, but it's all connected from just smiling.
yeah. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
isn't that beautiful? That's just so beautiful, isn't
Yes, truly,
it? Yeah.
truly is. Well,
Oh yeah.
thank you so much for joining me, Rickshaw. It's
Thank
been
you.
the
Thank you. I
utmost
really enjoyed
pleasure,
it.
and I can't wait. I can't wait to do this again.
As always, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.